Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of the Don't Argue with the great man, Kurt Gidley. And Gids, you are looking a picture of health and fitness, mate. How was your Anzac Day weekend?
Yeah, awesome, mate. Actually went to a concert, mate, Saturday night. A bit of Xavier Rudd, Pete Murray. So, mate, nice to be back out, listening to a bit of live music. So, mate, that was good on Saturday.
Do you know what, kids? I saw some footage. You sent a little, you sent a couple of videos through, mate, late Saturday night, early into Sunday morning, might I add. And looked like you were rocking. And Xavier Rudd, one of my all-time faves. He is a superstar, isn't he?
Champion, mate. Yeah, been one of my favourites from the early days. So, yeah, mate, it was nice to be back out and having a beer and bringing live music. Jeez, it felt a bit weird to start with, but, yeah, great to be back around a crowd. And then, mate, led into a great sort of Sunday afternoon. We'll lead up to the home game, the Knights versus the Eels, mate, but didn't end well, that one.
No, it didn't end well, mate. Where are your Knights at? They started the season so well, kids, and they've just hit the wall, haven't they?
Yeah, they have, mate. They're lacking a bit of belief and some confidence there. And defensively, the first couple of rounds, they defended really well against the Roosters, number one, and then the Tigers was round two. So, yeah, need to do a bit of soul searching, mate, at the moment and fight their way back out of it. So we'll get to that game, though, this week. But a big weekend, mate, of footy again. It's, certainly, even when Monday rolls around, Anzac Day is always an emotional one to play in as a player, I know. Listening to the national anthem, the last post, the minute silence. So it's a pretty moving experience just as a fan, but being on the field as a player, wonderful weekend of playing and look back and reflect and remember the past people who have served our country and the current ones as well. So an amazing weekend.
Yeah, it is. It's moving, and I don't know whether you go to the dawn service where you are, Gids, in Newcastle, but I certainly go here in Warrnambool. And if you haven't been, you got to get there and you got to soak it up, and you got to, I suppose, experience and pay our respects. I think that's the key one, and we've got to keep that message going through the generations, Gids.
I think so, matey. I think we're doing a pretty good job. The younger generation, really embrace it, and I think the story lives on. It's we must keep remembering and reflecting about how good of a country we live in and why, and the people who protected us.
Yeah, spot on, mate. Now, listen, let's have a look at the bunker review. All thanks to Palmerbet, of course. Magnificent organisation. Gamble responsibly, as we always say, but they are just sensational, and they're getting the job done in 2022. What about a couple of upsets on the weekend? And I watched this game on Saturday night, kids. The West Tigers over the Rabbitohs, 1 point victory. It went down to the wire. It was unbelievable and so good to see. I must admit, I loved seeing it. I love seeing the passion from the West Tigers, faithful, especially Madge. It's been a pretty tough kind of start to the season, but God, it was a good victory, wasn't it?
Yeah, great victory. Look, that's how quickly things can turn around. They've had two field goals right at the death of both games, and they've got the clutch play right towards the death just before full time. So, yeah, I think everyone's sort of had a little bit of a soft spot for the Tigers to start this year, and it's great to see they've got a couple of wins back to back. Looks like they're all having a good time, and they've got a spring in their step, and they're enjoying it, which is I know it's tough as a player when you got pressure and losses, and it's probably where the Knights boys sit at the moment. So it's there's not too much between winning and losing some games, and they're the plays you got to pull off.
Yeah, absolutely. Great victory. Back-to-back victories for the West Tigers, which is just enormous. Rabbitohs had their chances too. Don't worry about that. They just couldn't get the job done. It was an absolute encapsulating kind of last 10 minutes, to be honest. There was, referee reviews. It was going up to the bunker continually. There was so much going on. It was a high-pressure cooker situation, and it was wonderful to watch. I must admit, I'm enjoying watching the NRL probably a little bit more than the AFL at the moment, Gids. So that's saying something.
Yeah, okay. Oh, very good. No, mate, I mean, those games that come down to the wire, they're the most exciting ones, aren't they? So, yeah, Tigers have managed to claw back a couple of wins to straighten out their season and make for an interesting matchup this week. We'll get to that game when we can. But, mate, another good one yesterday, just sitting back on Anzac Day and the Dragons, the traditional Dragons and Roosters game, the SCG, cracking day for it, great crowd, and top performance by the Dragons.
And I don't think anybody saw this coming. 2 point victory. They were 4-1 or $4 to roll the Roosters, who were in good nick. They've just been getting the job done. No one saw this coming at all, Gids.
No, I thought Ben Hunt, played one of his best games in a while. I know he comes under plenty of pressure. Benny Hunt for his price tag that he signed with the Dragons, but geez, he just led well yesterday. I thought kick chase and taking the line on. I thought he had a different kicking strategy. He looked like he'd be kicking early in the game, which probably was something different to what he normally do, and it's something different that the Roosters would normally be defending against. So I just thought he was courageous in what he tried to do yesterday and lead the Dragons around the park, and it paid off. The rest of his teammates followed.
Yeah, magnificent to see, and it just shows you how much of a topsy-turvy season this is. And if you're not bringing your A game each and every week, you can get found out really easy in the modern game, can't you, kids?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you looked at that second game there yesterday, the Warriors. They were competing with Melbourne to start with. It's always a big clash, and sometimes they've been really tight games as well. Storm and Warriors games on Anzac Day, but geez, that last 30 minutes just absolutely blew out to a score that I don't think anyone's seen coming.
Yeah, no, it was crazy, mate.
70 points.
70 points, 70 to 10. That is an absolute blowout. Panthers 36-6 over the Raiders too. That was huge. And then the other one was Parramatta, of course, 39-2 over your Knights. So they're the big three at the moment that seem to be in really good nick. Do you reckon there's a bit of a gap then, Gids, with a few sides? And which one out of those big three do you think is going the best at the moment?
Yeah, I think there is a gap between sort of the top three and then the next guys in the top eight, and there's probably a fair gap between top eight and the bottom eight. So, look, I still find it hard to go past the Panthers, but you look at the Storm there last night, and you just think, well, they've got to be there again in the end for another year where they'll be competing for a grand final. So, I think they're still the two standout teams, Panthers and Storm, at the moment. But as you know, we're only still reasonably early in the season, and you've got to keep the majority of your key players on the park to make sure you've got a chance to have a crack at the big one at the end.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. You're 100% spot on. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how it all plays out. Panthers doing nothing wrong at the moment for mine. Storm exactly the same. I reckon Eels, like a little bit up and down, in patches. So they're certainly the top two, and they are the standouts at the moment. What about the top try scorer for 2022? Now, this is an interesting little market. Xavier Coates, of course, he bagged 4 tries over the weekend for the Storm. He's in sensational nick. My man, Ryan Poppenhausen, absolutely love him. And did you see the footage of that try on the weekend? He is just doing some unbelievable things. Coates, of course, from the Panthers, he scored 7 so far. May scored 8, of course, as well. Sorry, Coates, I should say, Xavier Coates. He's from the Melbourne Storm. May, of course, is from the Panthers. He scored 8 tries. So the pricing at the moment for the leading try scorer, Pappenhausen's at $4. Okay, so he's a couple up. Coates is currently sitting at $4.60. May sitting at $10. Is there going to be a bolter? Is there going to be someone that might come from left field, do you think? I know it's a long year, Gids, but generally when try scorers are in form, they tend to carry that form right throughout the season, don't they? Because their confidence is up.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, look, I'd be comfortable having my money on Pappenhausen at the moment. I mean, he always had the speed, in his first couple of years at Melbourne, but now he's starting the ball play. He's finishing off, try assist when he's playing that similar role as what Billy Slater was doing out the back. So, even he was taken on the line last night and beating defenders. So clearly, he's getting stronger. He's building his belief. His goal kicking's bloody going really well as well. So yeah. I think he's in a real good headspace at the moment, and obviously confidence and belief wise, and he's a really skillful player. So
that's the thing for me.
Hard to go past.
It's the confidence in him at the moment, isn't it? Even you can see the whole team's got confidence in him. They just throw him the ball, if you know what I mean. I think that goes a long way, kids, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Oh, for sure. He's playing with plenty of belief. He obviously works really hard at the training and does his homework on what plays he needs to execute. But even the try where Sofa Solomon, I think it was, who done the sort of bomb. So it was a front rower, got the ball unexpected on the last tackle. He just put like a short sort of bomb up, and Pappenhausen's just competitive effort. It was the difference between catching the ball and scoring the try, and the Warriors winger, catching it and defending the play. So it was purely a choice, and he wanted to compete for the play the most, and he got the result.
And he's kind of turned into a bit of a sex symbol, a little bit like you kids back in your heyday, mate. He's the new age Kurt Gidley, mate. He's
He's looking way sharp, way sharper than me.
No, he's in good nick, which is just fantastic to see, as are the Melbourne Storm. And as I said, they're going to be a very interesting market, and that'll change. If we read that in another 10 weeks' time, I'm sure that's going to change, and that market will move around a fair bit, all thanks to Palmer Bet.
Yep.
Hey, mate, let's have a look at this weekend's round of matches. We're up to round number 8 already, kids. I cannot believe the season is absolutely flying through at the moment. Thursday night footy, I know we bang on about it all the time, but I love it. I think it's got a massive place in the game, and I think it's here to stay, and I think it's just sensational. But it's a really interesting encounter this week. It's the Broncos taking on the Sharks, Suncorp Stadium. Head-to-head, Broncos at $3.72, Sharks are at $1.28. The line, the Sharks, minus 10.5 is $1.90. They split their games last year, Gids. Tessie Niau has scored 4 tries in his last 2 games versus the Sharks. What are your thoughts in this one, mate?
Oh, mate, I'll be on the Sharks for this one, to be honest, Matty. I thought, look, Manly came back in that game to compete with them towards the end, but just their first half on that Sharks left side, Manly right side defence, they just absolutely tore them to pieces.
Yeah.
I still think they got, I think I named the Sharks in the top 4 early in the year, and I'll be still sticking with that one at the moment. So I'm tipping the Sharks, mate, on Sharks on this one, minus 10.5 start.
Yeah, right. I like it. I like your thought process there, mate. Go with the faves early. There's nothing wrong with that, kids. Friday night footy, it is the Titans taking on the Panthers. And we just keep banging on about the Panthers each and every week, mate. They are just flying along at the moment, still undefeated. Titans, $7.50. Panthers, $1.09. At the line, Panthers minus 19.5 at $1.87. That's where you might be able to have a little bit of a play, kids. Last time they played, Cleary scored 3 tries, 8 goals for 28 points in total.
Yeah, wow.
Panthers have scored 20-plus points every game this season. So their offense has been enormous, but that stat on Cleary, Nathan Cleary, that is unbelievable.
Unbelievable, yeah, 28 points in a game. And even the next one where it's, they've scored over 20 points in every game this season. Like, that's how hard they work, and that's how well they execute their plays. Everyone obviously knows their job and knows it well, and they run genuine lines, and obviously ball players who can hit the mark. So I'd be still going with the Panthers there, and minus that 9.5 start at the moment. Potentially even a multi, Matty, just to toss it in there. Panthers the win plus over 42.5 points for the game.
Wowzers.
I think they score a few, mate. Titans have been underwhelming, I think, this year. Obviously coming off the back of a year where they made the semis last year. Just finding it hard with consistency, and had a couple of losses that have been blowout scores. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting. How do you stop the Panthers, kids? Look, if you're coaching the Gold Coast Titans, how do you stop that enormous offense?
Mate, you've probably got to try something which will take some risk, whether it's kicking early, a bit like Benny Hunt, where we've seen him trying to kick a 20-40 there yesterday early in the game. I think just trying to upset what they normally like to play against.
Get them out of their rhythm.
I wouldn't try and beat them at their own game. I'd be looking to kick early, in behind, not waiting for last tackle to kick neither. I think you need to look somewhere outside of the box to try and beat the Panthers. And I'd probably start with a kicking game and kicking early and trying to upset what their rhythm may normally be.
Yeah, beautiful. Right, let's move along to the other Friday night game. It's South Sydney Rabbitohs taking on Manly. 7:55 Central Coast Stadium, head-to-head. The Rabbitohs $1.65, Manly $2.25. At the line, the Souths minus 2.5 $1.90. Souths won both clashes last year. Alex Johnson, Cody Walker both scored 3 tries in the last 2 games versus Manly. So a couple of interesting stats there, and I reckon they will be very, very disappointed, the Rabbitohs, with what they dished out last weekend.
Yeah, they will be. I think both teams will probably be disappointed in their matches last week, so they'll both be looking to bounce back. I dare say there might be some changes on that right side defence for Manly, the way they got carved up in the first half. But yeah, a more challenging one to choose this one, but I actually think Manly can bounce back from last week. So I'm going to go with a bit of value there, Matty, and back Manly on head-to-head, mate. They've got some decent value at 225. But also, we've seen Alex Johnson and his try-scoring record. Might be worth just looking at Alex Johnson anytime try scorer.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, let's move on to the next game on Saturday, 3 p.m. Warriors taking on the Raiders, Moreton Daily Stadium. This one is at Warriors $2, Raiders $1.80. So it's a toss of the coin, Gids. At the line, Raiders minus 1.5, $1.93. They split their games last year. Both teams have not scored more than 14 points in their last two games, which is a bit of a concern. But this seriously is a real toss of the coin job, isn't it, Gids?
Oh, wow. Well, mate, I think the Warriors are going to find it hard to bounce back from 70 points. You know, there's going to be some tough and uncomfortable video sessions there during the week. And they've got a shorter turnaround. They only just played yesterday. So not a great deal of rest, which sometimes as a player is a good thing when you get a touch up. You know, you'd rather be playing today, to be honest.
Yeah.
And try and move on and improve from what went wrong yesterday. But I just find it hard to see the Warriors bounce back from 70 points last night. So going to go with the Raiders on this one.
Righto, mate. I love your thinking.
Mate, potentially even to look at both teams aren't, clinical or, putting their set plays together well. So maybe even under 40.5 points for a bit of a wager on that one.
Yeah, nice, mate. I like it. Something a little bit different. Saturday night at the Core Stadium, it's the Bulldogs taking on the Roosters. They are going to be absolutely vicious, I reckon. The Roosters head-to-head, Bulldogs $4.60, Roosters at $1.20. Roosters at the line minus 12.5 at $1.95. Roosters have won 8 straight Gids against the Bulldogs. Bulldogs have not scored more than 16 points this year. Is it a lay-down misère? The Roosters bounce back and they get the win?
Well, you'd expect so. I mean, but there continues to be some upsets in the footy this year, and I get no doubt there'll be one or two again this week. But you would expect, under Trent Robinson and the calibre of players the Roosters have, that they will bounce back, and they've probably got a history of that. They should bounce back from this result against the Dragons over the weekend. But look, I can't go past Roosters here. I'd even take Roosters without the start, so minus 12.5 points, $1.95.
Yeah, beautiful, mate. Double your money effectively. It is that simple with Palmerbet Gids. Saturday night up at TIA Stadium, it is the Eels v the Cowboys. Eels $1.26, Cowboys $3.90. Eels at the line minus 11.5 at $1.87. Eels have won their last 2 games against the Cowboys, and they have won their last 2 annual Darwin games, which is so important because it is very, very different conditions up there in Darwin, isn't it, Gids?
Yeah, I played a couple of times up there myself, and pretty humid, very sweaty. Obviously, the ball gets pretty slippery in those type of conditions. So yeah, but a great experience to play, in a different location. I just come away from Darwin for Hughes' trek there the other week, and we look. There's a nice little carrot to be dangled there for the winning team in Darwin that might just enjoy a few refreshments out on the town, and it's I can highly recommend it.
I was going to say, mate. Now, where was your go-to? Did you get the Monsoons?
That's where I finished, Monsoons.
And did you get the Shenanigans first?
No. I rode the electric scooter past Shenanigans, mate. It didn't pull up for me there. It kept going straight to Monsoons.
The electric scooter.
They're a dangerous. It's a dangerous mix. Those things up there. Back to the footy, mate. Look, the Eels had to bounce back from the Tigers' loss, which was a tight one there the week before. They bounced back. They tailed up the Knights last week and proved that they can fight back, mate, from a bit of adversity and a loss, and they can get back on the winners circle, within a week. So can't go past the Eels on that one.
Yeah, righto. Beautiful, mate. Let's get on to the next game, Sunday football. It's your Knights taking on the might of the Melbourne Storm at McDonald Jones Stadium. Knights are $7.10, Gids. You heard me, big fella. $7.10. Storm are $1.10. At the line, the Storm minus 18.5 at $1.95. Storm have scored 30-plus points in their last 4 games, so they are low-flying at the moment. And Storm won last year's clash by 40 points, Gids. Your boys are in a world of hurt, mate. Can we bounce back at the Knights or what?
Well, it's a big ask, mate. But again, going back to how do you beat the Panthers? And I said you need to do something different. You can't just beat them at their own game. They're too strong defensively, they rush in defence. So, again, I'd be looking to kick in behind from any set play and early in the tackle count, because you've got to be able to do something different. You can't try and beat a great defensive team, an amazing coach team by Craig Bellamy, trying to beat them at their own game. So I think they need to do something different than Knights. Look, they need to work on their defence. Absolutely, you can't compete against the Melbourne Storm if you're not defending tough and gritty. But certainly, I think in attack, we need to be doing something different outside of what other teams that try and play and beat Melbourne at their own game. It doesn't work. They're too strong defensively and they rush too hard.
I'm a Victorian, mate. I love the Storm, and you New South Welshmen and Queenslanders. You give us nothing down here, mate. Let's be honest. Where does Craig Bellamy sit in the legends of the game? He has just been an absolute just wonder, hasn't he? He has been amazing.
Yeah, I think he's the best coach the game's ever seen. Yeah. And he keeps reinventing players too. He has such a huge influence on superstar players that have come through the club from the early days. He has a big influence on players who relocate and go to play for Melbourne, mid-career or late career. Yeah. They become a better player, or he makes them believe they're a better player, and then they play better footy. And every time a superstar that is played at Melbourne retires, everyone sort of writes them off. Can't be, surely they can't do it again, and they just keep finding a way. And he keeps instilling the belief and confidence in his players, and keeps them accountable, and they keep getting a result.
Yeah, it's a wonderful story, I reckon, the Melbourne Storm and the Craig Bellamy story, and I reckon it's a big culture thing. The club, they seem to have, I think everyone seems to play their role. They're all leaders. They pull people back in line pretty quick, and if you don't toe the line, there's the door, and out you go. You go on.
That's right. Maybe have a little dabble at Ryan Pappenhausen, anytime try scorer for that one, mate. He seems to be scoring plenty.
Why wouldn't we? We love the Pap here, mate. He's our favourite, the Pappenhausen. I love just saying his name, that is for sure. Hey, final game, Sunday, 4:05 at Wynn Stadium. Dragons taking on the Tigers. Tigers looking for 3 on the trot, mate. Who would have thought we'd be talking about that, kids, a couple of weeks ago? Dragons $1.56. Tigers are $2.45. That's the shortest they've been for weeks.
Yeah.
Dragons at the line, minus 3.5 at $1.80. Tigers won both clashes last year, and the Dragons and Tigers have only scored 20-plus points twice this year, but that's the key one. So the Tigers rolled them twice last year.
Rolled them twice last year. I reckon that'll be in the back of their minds. I do like the Dragons when they're at Wynn Stadium. I just think they feel like it's a bit more at home there. But that's a fair stat. Tigers getting them twice last year, and $2.45. Oh, tough one to call. I reckon really good matchup between Ben Hunt again, to see if he backs up what he did there yesterday on Anzac Day, and Jackson Hastings, to see if he can continue to drive the ship and steer the ship to where the Tigers have been the last couple of weeks. So. Geez, I don't know. What's your thoughts, mate, on this one?
Oh, I'm going Tigers, mate. I love them. I reckon they're Tigers. Up and about. It's just good. It's good to see. They're playing with some belief. That was a gritty, tough win against the Rabbitohs. They could have just, they had a bloke in the sin bin too for a fair period of time as well. So they were a player down.
Yeah.
And they just toughed it out, mate. And they were challenged by a decent side in the Rabbitohs, and I reckon they're just, they're going along nicely. They're not going to be world beaters, but they're going along good.
I didn't think we'd be saying this, but I think it's almost the match of the round. Especially if the Dragons. The Dragons have just upset the Roosters at the SCG on the emotional Anzac Day, and the Tigers have had 2 on the bounce and kicked a couple of field goals. And you can see the effect it has on the dressing room and on the field, when they're celebrating. So that'll be a good game, that one. TV game.
If the Dragons hadn't beat the Roosters, this game might have been a lot tighter. They might have been $1.90 a piece, to be honest. But I think just coming off that form line, I think they're going, they've got to go in a little bit shorter. But I just find, I reckon you're 100% spot on. This is the match of the round.
Yeah, mate. I'm just going to go with the Dragons, only because it's at Wynn Stadium. It's the only thing that swayed me.
Beautiful, kids. There, what's your best for the weekend, mate? Have you got a multi or something for us? All thanks to Palmer.
Best, mate. I'm going to go Manly as my best. There's a little bit of value there for Manly. To bounce back from their loss, 225.
Yeah.
They're Depends if they make a few changes defensively or they stick with the guys on that right-hand edge. But they'll want to, anytime you have a bad performance defensively, you work pretty hard at the following week. But there's still a little bit of doubt there, I would say. But I still think they can bounce back for 225. And my best bet, mate, Pappenhausen, anytime try scorer. I'm just hoping he only scores one, and that's it.
What a legend, mate. Honestly, he is becoming a cult figure. I love it. The mullet, and I said he's like a sex symbol too, mate. He'll be doing the Chesty Bonds ads all around New South Wales soon. I can see it. He's just got it.
He's a New South Wales mate. He's a Blues too. He's a blue boy. So sky blue, mate. We need to find a spot for him in the Blues team. Whether it's going to be hard to knock off the current captain and custodian of fullback James Tedesco, but we need him in the team somewhere.
Yeah, well, even if he just gets a bit of a taste for it, he gets up there and gets part of the squad and gets part of the action, I think that'd be a great start. And you just never know, chuck him atop at some stage, kids, and anything could happen.
Mate, if the Roosters keep going downhill, he might be there before Tedesco, the captain. Who knows? Probably highly unlikely.
Hey, listen, Gids, fantastic show, mate. Fantastic round of NRL coming up. It's been a cracking start to the season for mine. I'm loving it. And the guys at Palmerbet, mate, we must give them a shout out. Download the app, get involved, gamble responsibly, of course, as we always say, but they've got plenty of options, plenty of things to look through, mate. So enjoy yourself and get involved over the weekend, mate.
Yeah, all the best. Yeah, thanks to the Palmerbet boys. I've seen their branding and their logo all over the NRL this year. So great to see they're having a crack at some of the other players in the market. So great work.
It's awesome, mate. And they get involved in the boxing as well too. There's a Rafa fight last week. Yeah. Heavily involved with Sonny Bill Williams and Paul Gallen, of course, and all those boys. They love getting involved in all things sport, which is sensational. Gids, you have a great weekend, mate. Look forward to catching up with you next week.
Cheers, matey, and see you crew. All the best.
And go Pappenhausen.